Good evening, everyone. Welcome in once again for another edition of the Kelly Wells Show. We talk all things regarding the University of Pikeville basketball program. The men's program currently ranked number 3 in the nation. The new ratings just released, and we'll have those for you momentarily and catch you up to date on the Bears, who now stand 18-3 and 8-3 in the Mid-South Conference. Also, we'll step into the player spotlight. Natalie Tunnell with the women's program will be a guest on tonight's show, along with P.J. Jenkins from the men's program, and we'll get a complete look at the U-Pike women and take a look at their week last week along with the men. Some highlights coming up. Scouting reports on the week ahead. It's all still to come on the Kelly Wells Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless. Joined now by head coach of our Bears, Kelly Wells, in a 1-1 week on the road in the Mid-South Conference. You don't like settling for losses. 1-1 on the road against the competition you faced. Kelly Wells, thoughts?
Really unacceptable, to be frank with you. We could sugarcoat it and say we had the flu, and we could sugarcoat it and say we had snow and we were on the road. We just didn't play well against Cumberland's Kentucky. And we did an edit today just of all the mistakes that we made in that game, and it was almost a 40-minute game. I mean, It was that bad. Just was very uncharacteristic of our team. But we've bounced back. Our practice has been great. Even coming over here, we were really competing. I hated to leave practice because we maybe got some enlightenment. And sometimes you get fat and happy, and sometimes we all need a little bit of leveling out. And I think that obviously leveled us out. I think we're definitely a better team than Cumberland's Kentucky, but we didn't prove it. So we now have our work cut out for us, and we lost our number 1 spot in the conference. Now we're second place, and we'll see how we respond to that, because I don't really like being there.
And the team, you mentioned practiced well since that 1-1 week last week, and then coming off the loss to Cumberland's. Practice has been well, very competitive. What's the mindset in the locker room?
Well, frankly, I don't really care what the mindset is. I want them to have my personality when they come out, because we've given them the opportunity to carry on with their personality. And against Georgetown and against Cumberland's in 2 very physical games, I thought we were on our heels a little bit. Now, we lost both ones in a tough, close game. We didn't get any breaks down the stretch, the beginning, middle, end. But we've got to find ways to win those. And it's disappointing, because I know what we're capable of. And that's what I tell our players. It's not who we play. It's an X team out there. It's us against our best. And if we're not close to our best, a good friend of mine told me, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. And we're not going to allow this team to underachieve.
Would you ever look at your team and classify it as a physical basketball team?
I think we have some physical players, but generally I like guys who can play basketball. I'm not putting together a wrestling team, and I'm not putting together a linebackers crew. I'm putting together a basketball team. And unfortunately, in our conference, our officials seem to think that that's what our conference is about, is to be a wrestling match. And we've addressed that with our commissioner and everybody else, but it just seems to go unnoticed. But we've got to do a better job of absorbing contact and fouls and bad calls, and we got to continue to play. And in Cumberland's, we didn't do that. And it starts from the head up, head down, and I didn't handle it well. I made some coaching mistakes because I was mad at the officiating, and made some poor decisions on my part. So we'll bounce back. Coach will, as well as our players.
We know that. And the Bears, you look back at the season 18-3 and 8-3, and I know the 3's unacceptable to you on any occasion, no excuses. But really, when you look back, there have been very few occasions that this team has played poorly. And if you've got one, I know it's not acceptable ever in your book for them to go out and not perform, but they've been few and far between.
They have. We've been very mature as a whole, and keeping things in perspective is just that I promised these guys when I recruited them, and I promised them in preseason that I was not going under any circumstance to let them underachieve, whether it be my health, somebody else's health, whether it be road games, home games. We weren't going to underachieve. We were going to handle adversity, and we really have done a remarkable job throughout this course of the season of doing that. But I didn't like our response at Cumberland's, and I certainly didn't like our response at home against Georgetown.
It's January and it's not March.
No, but we're creeping up on it.
Yeah. It's getting there very quickly.
We got to continue to build, and I knew we had a couple of these games in us. I would have never imagined it would have been against 2 of our most natural rivalries in Georgetown and Cumberland. So I think that's why it took me for such a such a loop.
There you go. 1-1 last week, and we'll have the new ratings out from the NAI out of Kansas City this evening. And, of course, we'll step into the player spotlight. Both the men's and women's side will get a complete update on the U-Pike women. And when we return, we'll have highlights from that Cumberland's game we just spoke of with Coach Kelly Wells. You're tuned to the Kelly Wells Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless. Welcome back in. It's the Kelly Wells Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless. Of course, we're talking U-Pike basketball, and the Bears last week ranked number 3 in the nation. After going 1-1 this past week, new ratings we'll have for you in just a few moments and let you know where the Bears stand nationally after falling to number 2 in the Mid-South Conference with an 8-3 conference mark. The Bears coming off wins over Cumberland University, Tennessee, and then we have highlights from Saturday's matchup. Then number 3, U-Pike taking on number 25, Cumberland's in Williamsburg. The Rollins Center, always a tough venue. It's a rivalry matchup, and the Bears go there. And I think Cumberland's maybe a little more focused. They were number 1 when we beat them here.
Yeah, really put them. They'd lost 4 of their last 5 going into our game, and I guess they just had marked it on their calendar that they were going to make some changes, and kind of warned our guys that the things that are going to change is the fact that they're going to be extremely physical with you guys, and as physical as they can be to where the officials can't keep up with the calls.
Sure.
You just got to play through it, and I didn't think we handled it well, and we got a little bit selfish, and we made some terrible decisions in plays, just things that were out of character for us that
Right.
drove me batty, but just weren't dialed in, but give them credit. I mean, that was a great response by them. They got themselves back in the polls again because they've had a good week. And it's our job now to take care of business down the stretch, which won't be easy.
Bears have to play Bears basketball the rest of the way and maintain that spot, and let's move back to the top of the Mid-South. Let's take a look at the highlights. As poorly as we've talked the Bears played against Cumberland, there certainly were some highlights, and we'll get things started with the big guy, Big T, with the assist here.
Yeah, it's a great pass from CJ to Terrence on the baseline, and he did a good job finishing. He just made some silly fouls, and we couldn't keep him in the game long enough. And here's Deuce with another pass from CJ. Deuce was battling the flu bad this game. I think the coach gave it to him. Here's a nice little up and under move by Trevor. Rips to the rim and gets him a nice little pull-up jump shot. And here's who you'll have on here in just a minute with a great little pull-up, P.J. Jenkins from the wing off our fast break. And here's what we got to get more of right here, creating offense from our defense. P.J. gets a nice steal, pitches ahead to Chris Johnson, who blows by and gets him a nice easy layup here at the 9-minute mark. Play that Trevor probably couldn't have made a couple years ago. Great give and go from the post, and CJ cuts right off of him, which is a beautiful, beautiful basketball play.
Really becoming a complete player, as Trevor said.
No doubt. And here just shows another part of it as well. The official called a charge block. Basket good, basket not good, but he ended up getting the and one out of it.
A little bit of everything there.
So here's Greg McGee with a nice pitch out. Double team came. He did a great job recognizing it, kicked it to Trevor for a 3-point shot. Here's PJ taking a tough shot, but his teammates picking him up. Trevor getting a rebound with 4 guys inside of it, and he pulls it down somehow. Here's one of our plays in a half-court set. We normally try to bring that off the dribble, but T makes a good screen and frees up Trevor just enough to get that shot released there.
Go the half with a 4-point lead in Williamsburg.
They actually had an 11-point lead at one time in the second half, and we didn't take advantage of it very well. But a nice little play out of a timeout here with Terrence setting aside pick and roll. CJ feeding him with the basketball with a great play. Another one of our sets here coming out of our half court. Deuce getting a good screen by Terrence. If you can't find Terrence Antil screen, then you're not trying very hard. But did a great job in transition here too. And we got to get more of those. You know, our transition games where we're great. Here we are defensively, a great show up here on the ball screen by Terrence. Deuce makes a fantastic steal, and we're off to the races where we're very good. Creates open space, can't be a double team, can't be any of that nature, and we get ourselves a good basket out of it. Here's a step back, very, very tough shot, not one we we really recommend, but he got an and one out of it, and we'll take it. Here's turning the corner, aggressive. Trevor with another screen, and Deuce with a mid-range jump shot that nailed. That was good offense.
Certainly some highlights there, but the Bears do fall to Cumberland 73-71 ultimately in Williamsburg. And next up on the schedule, back at home. Coming up Thursday, Bluefield College at the Expo Center. And just 3 more opportunities to see this team this year. Need a big crowd Thursday.
We'd love to have a big crowd. Students are back in. Everybody's excited about it. We're trying to get the word out. We've got a doubleheader there. Trying to do as many other things we can on campus with giveaways. Just love to see you out. I think it helps everybody's morale from not just the basketball team, but if you've got everybody there, I think the school morale is higher and better. And just a great place to be. At Expo, you can't find a nicer arena anywhere. And it certainly helps our basketball team when a good crowd is there.
Absolutely. And a team that's ranked in the top 10 in the country, number 3 last week, will have the new ratings coming out. But if you can't support something like that, what are you waiting for?
Well, we understand that. We believe you 100%. And we don't want to beg and plead and borrow. But if you're a basketball fan or a sports fan of any sort or a fan of East Kentucky, come on out and watch this team play a little bit. And you only have 3 more opportunities. You got this Thursday, and not next week, but the following week. You got 2 home games. One will be senior night, and I'd love for you to come honor our kids with us for sure.
Absolutely. It's a team that you'll fall in love with. And we talk men's basketball. In the player spotlight coming up, P.J. Jenkins, a newcomer to the Bears program. He will join us. Coming up next, we'll talk U-Pike women's basketball with assistant coach Taryn Duncan. And in the women's player spotlight, Natalie Tunnell coming up. It's the Kelly Wells Show. It's presented by Appalachian Wireless. Welcome back in. The Kelly Wells Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless. We talk all things U-Pike basketball. Of course, the men last week ranked number 3 in the country. New ratings expected soon out of Kansas City NAIA headquarters. And coming up in the player spotlight, we'll talk with one of the newcomers to the U-Pike program, P.J. Jenkins, 6'1" guard out of Goose Creek, South Carolina. And coming up in the women's player spotlight, we'll talk with Natalie Tunnell, 5'10" sophomore out of Oklahoma City. Joined now by U-Pike women's assistant coach Taryn Duncan. And coach, the U-Pike women last won back in December, but they've been competitive. A lot of times in recent years, we've looked at the U-Pike women in the Mid-South Conference playing against such great competition. The Mid-South loaded up on the guys' side and the women's, and it's no different this year. While it's been a tough stretch over the last 10 games, this team has been competitive, and there have been opportunities to pull off some big wins. They've just not come just yet. How close is this team?
I think we're very close. We practice hard. We compete. We can't get over the hump. I don't know if, I don't know what's going on in their minds, but, Coach Watson and I, we believe they can do it. We think we have the personnel to win games. Hopefully they'll be able to pull one out and then get the ball rolling from there.
And, of course, battled injuries as well.
Yes.
Let's get an update on the injuries within the U-Pike women's program right now.
Peyton Wright, she's back with us this week. She played 2 games, limited minutes. Her knees have been bothering her, but she's getting back in. Brogan Conley, partially torn meniscus,
Right.
So she's playing with that for the remainder of the year, and then after the season, I think she's going to have surgery and then be ready to get back next year.
Obviously not 100%
No.
mobile, and playing through pain, playing
She
through
is,
a
yes.
lot of that. And then you've got some other ladies that have suffered long-term injuries.
Yeah, we've got 2 or 3 girls who have had ACLs. Brittany Swindle's back this year with an ACL. She's obviously not at 100%. We have Sally Roberts, who's back this year. She's actually had a previous ACL. So we have several kids with knee braces running around, but we don't use that as an excuse. We've got to get that behind us and get wins.
A little deeper team as well, because of recruiting. In spite of injuries, you've had enough players that depth doesn't become an issue. The talent's there. It's still young talent. and
Yes.
this is a program that's still growing up. And speaking of young talent, we talk about the JV program. They don't get a lot of publicity, but the JV program we mentioned before we came back on, they've been very competitive this year as well.
They have. They're great student athletes. You know, they get it done in the classroom as well as on the court. You know, I think they've only lost 2 to 3 games this year. They're very competitive with the other JV teams in our conference and the surrounding states that they play.
Providing opportunities, and it also provides opportunities for players to make the step from the JV
Yeah,
team to
definitely.
the varsity team with injuries or just flat earning their way to the varsity spot. Last week, a couple of losses on the road at Cumberland U and the University of Cumberland's. A 9-point loss at Cumberland's, and then you go to West Virginia Tech on Monday and a 3-point loss there. Coming up, a couple of home games. It will be good to be back home for the U-Pike women.
It will. You know, it was kind of nice to get away, you know, just let the kids focus on basketball. But then again, it's always nice to play at home in front of a home crowd. Their parents can come watch and their friends from school and the community, so it's always nice to be back home.
Thursday night, Bluefield College, 6 p.m. tip-off at the Expo Center. A little scout on Bluefield.
Bluefield is the most athletic team in the Mid-South Conference. There's not another team that has a makeup like they do. They're very hard to practice for because obviously you don't have the players on your team that can simulate what they do.
Sure.
They run for 40 minutes, they press, they trap. Their best offense is to shoot it and go get that offensive rebound. So we're really focusing on just boxing out and transition defense this week.
Yeah, and maybe Kelly Wells can launch
Yeah.
his squad for a little practice time. Pretty athletic team there they could replicate. And then Sunday, odd Sunday afternoon game at the Expo Center, IU Southeast, and that's a 3 p.m. tip-off. What do you know about Southeast?
That one's actually at U-Pike.
At U-Pike?
Yes. IU Southeast is a very solid basketball team. Every year they're in the top 25 in the NAIA Division II. They always have solid guards who can shoot the basketball and big, strong post players who can rebound and make post moves. It's just going to be a solid team. Should be a good game. So hopefully we can pull out a W on Sunday.
Guests coming up in the U-Pike Women's Spotlight, Natalie Tunnell. Give us a little preview of what we'll see.
Natalie's a great kid. She's a great student athlete. I'm thinking her first semester she had a 4.0.
Okay.
Natalie is a shooter. She's a pure shooter. She shot the ball well this year. I know she's hit 5 threes in 2 separate games for us. She's been a little slow lately, but hopefully we can get her going Thursday night.
All right, let's get the shooting back. Bluefield College Thursday night at the Expo, 6 p.m. tip-off. We want everyone out for that.
Yes.
And the U-Pike women looking for a win there. And then Sunday at the U-Pike Gym, 3 p.m. tip-off.
Yes.
All right. Taryn Duncan, assistant coach with the U-Pike women's program. We'll step into the player spotlight next, and we'll talk U-Pike women's basketball more. Natalie Tunnell coming up on the Kelly Wells Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless.
Hey now, come on, let's go. The music's playing, I've got to move on, to go out, no more delaying. Pack my things up, carefree, adventure's waiting. I'm heading out to see the rest of the world.
Welcome back in. It's the Kelly Wells Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless, where we talk U-Pike basketball. And we've been talking U-Pike women's basketball. And the U-Pike women, they've got home games coming up Thursday with Bluefield College at the Expo Center, and then Sunday afternoon at the U-Pike Gym with IU Southeast coming to town. We'll step into the U-Pike women's player spotlight now. 5'10" sophomore out of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, Natalie Tunnell joins us now. Natalie, welcome to the Kelly Wells Show.
Thank you.
We talk about backgrounds. We talk about basketball backgrounds and things going on the court, basketball plans in the future, maybe some goals. But student athletes, the word student comes first. So let's go to the classroom first. Let's talk about your academic major and what your plans are since arriving at the University of Pikeville.
Okay, I'm a psychology major. I am not exactly sure what I want to do with it when I get out, but I just know that I've always been interested in kind of figuring out people and how they think and helping them. So hopefully I can find something to do with that. when I graduate.
I know the U-Pike women's program, historically very good team, grade point average. Pretty good student?
I am actually.
Coach,
I try.
Coach said, I think 4.0 maybe first semester.
I think so. I think I might have had a B in there, but look
Close
past
enough?
that one. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll round it off. The IRS does, so
Sure.
we'll round it off.
Works
and
for
we'll call
me.
it a 4.0. Natalie Tunnell, 5'10", sophomore out of Oklahoma City. Let's talk about your basketball background. Let's talk about when you first picked up the game of basketball, maybe some other sports you played growing up too.
Well, I started, real early, like kindergarten, pre-K, upwards, that kind of thing. And then I just, I always played basketball. I played 1 year of softball because they kind of begged me to, but
Sure.
I played volleyball a couple of years, but basketball was the one that just kind of stuck with me.
Your father played some baseball,
He did.
Major
yes.
League Baseball player, and you avoided the diamond.
I did, yeah. I liked baseball,
Yes.
but I've never really got into softball. I thought it was weird how they played differently, and I don't know, I just kind of went a different way.
All right. So basketball early on. How early on did you realize that it's something you wanted to do possibly at the next level?
Probably middle school. I always saw myself playing in college.
Right.
So that was
Talk
always a
about your
goal.
high school career. Talk about some of your accomplishments.
Well, I was on a very good team. We went to our national tournament. It was kind of different. We were in a different organization, but we won, I think, 2 years, and we were always, very competitive. Played, 6A teams, and it was kind of fun because I got to play with a lot of the same girls from like 5th grade to graduating.
Sure.
And so that was just really fun for me getting to grow up with those girls, and a lot of them are playing in college too, so
Right.
it's kind of cool.
From high school, you went to Olivet Nazarene,
Yes, sir.
tradition-rich program, and you were there for 1 season, and then to the University of Pikeville. Let's talk about that journey. Olivet Nazarene to the University of Pikeville. How did that recruiting process take place?
Well, I knew that I didn't want to go back there. I was kind of just in the middle of nowhere, not close to home or anything. So
Sure.
how I chose here was actually I wanted to either go closer to home or go closer to my boyfriend. And he goes to school in Kentucky, in Moorhead. So we kind of decided I wanted to go out here. So I just looked it up and called him up.
Googled Moorhead.
Yeah.
How many schools within 100 miles?
Yes, yeah.
There you go. Natalie Tunnell, 5'10" sophomore out of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. And the U-Pike women battling a little bit of a losing streak right now. Want to talk about the mindset in the locker room. What's the mood of the girls when you become involved in the midst of a losing streak? And one of my favorite quotations, it talks about winning being contagious, but so is losing. And sometimes the mindset becomes that, oh, well, here we go again. Is it that type of mindset, or is this team ready to snap out with Bluefield? Got a couple of home games that are winnable.
Yeah, we're not to that point to where we're just like, oh, well. We've had a couple of leaders in the locker room. If people are getting really down, they kind of snap them out of it. And, it's not like we're getting blown out every game. We're
Sure.
competing, we're close.
Right.
So we're all hopeful and just trying to keep working hard. And we're just trying to encourage each other and make sure we're all being positive and working hard.
How long is the boyfriend still in school at Moorhead?
He's a senior this year.
Okay.
So, yep.
What are his plans after graduation?
He's going to grad school. He's wanting to be a coach,
Okay.
so he'll probably be there next year
Okay.
too.
We just want to make sure we didn't lose you.
Yes, no.
Because we've got to check in on the boyfriend,
No.
make sure that he's in place. And if not, we'll find something for him to do here in this
Sure.
area. We want to keep you around. Natalie Tunnell, 5'10" sophomore out of Oklahoma City, part of the U-Pike women's program. Thanks for being our guest.
Thank you.
Natalie Tunnell on the Kelly Wells Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless. When we come back, we'll take a look at the Bears men's spotlight. P.J. Jenkins, a newcomer, coming up next on the Kelly Wells Show. Welcome back to the Kelly Wells Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless. Andrew Joyce, as we step into the Bears spotlight. UPike ranked number 3 in the nation last week, coming off a 1-1 week in the Mid-South Conference, and still to come, we'll be rejoined by Coach Kelly Wells. We'll talk about the latest national ratings from the NAIA headquarters in Kansas City, and we'll get a preview of Bears basketball coming up. Of course, next is Bluefield College, Thursday at the Expo Center. Joined now by a 6'1" junior guard out of Goose Creek, South Carolina. He's a newcomer to the Bears program, P.J. Jenkins. P.J., welcome in.
Thank you, thank you.
Of course, joining the Bears at the semester break and made an immediate impact. I think first game for UPike was on the road at Bluefield.
Yes.
First shot P.J. Jenkins threw up, drilled a 3, and I said, I like this guy already. Before we talk any more basketball and how you arrived at the University of Pikeville, let's talk about your academics. Let's talk about P.J. Jenkins, the student. What's your major? What are your plans academically?
My major is computer science. I got my 2-year degree, my associate's degree, in liberal arts. So hopefully this summer I can get an internship at a government job called SPAWAR back home.
Uh-huh.
So I'm looking forward to computer programming.
Got a terrible virus right now on my laptop. Can you take care of that?
No problem.
All right. I'm going to let you take that on the road with your next road trip.
Definitely.
You cannot. I don't want to get into your study time. P.J. Jenkins, of course, Goose Creek, South Carolina. Talk about your playing days. When did you begin playing organized basketball?
I've been playing since I'm about 5 years old. I was a 4-sport athlete.
Let's talk about those.
Until I played baseball, football, and what else? I didn't play soccer.
Yeah,
I played
obviously
baseball,
basketball.
football, and basketball,
Yeah.
all the way up to high school.
Right.
About 7th grade, my middle school years, 7th grade I made the B team, basketball. I tried out 7th grade, 8th grade, and 9th grade, and got cut every single year.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was on B team for 3 years. And then my 10th grade year, I moved straight to varsity, skipped JV.
Right.
So I just kept working towards it, and because I really love basketball, so kept working hard, and it paid off.
Talk about your high school playing career, and let's talk about some coaches you've had. Any particular coach that might have influenced your game?
Oh yeah, definitely. My high school coach, Coach Brad Daubles, he's a assistant coach at CSU, Charleston Southern University.
Right.
My 11th grade year, I made All-State, and my 12th grade year I made All-State 2, and won the state championship.
Right.
Scoring 33 points in the championship game, so that felt real good.
Yeah.
And my coach Brad Daubles, he's probably like my best friend. You know, we still communicate till this day.
Right.
He has great advice. You know, that's one of my role models, and he's had a lifelong impact on me.
Absolutely. P.J. Jenkins out of Goose Creek, South Carolina. You went the junior college route. You got your associate's degree. Obviously, you're on track academically. And let's talk about the journey to arrive at the University of Pikeville.
Well, when I graduated junior college, I decided to go to Shorter University. Last year, they were NAIA ranked number 1, so I thought that was a good decision. A week before the season started, I found out that I was ineligible because they were NCAA. So my grades didn't transfer NCAA.
Right.
So I could have sat out and just waited for next year, August, to play, but I would have had 1 year left. So I decided to leave and play right away next semester. I had a couple offers. It was between UPike and Biola University in California.
Right.
That was a little bit too far for me.
Right.
I wanted to stay close to home, so I picked UPike. Got a great coach. Expo Center is amazing.
Yeah.
And we were ranked number 2 when I decided.
Right.
And we're still working towards that.
How did that process begin? You had offers from Biola and UPike, and who made the contact? Who got in touch with whom?
Biola called me. My shorter coach, Coach Warner, he helped me out a lot. He gave me the decision to stay or if I wanted to leave because he understood that I love basketball and I wanted to play right away.
Sure.
So he got on the horn for me and called a couple coaches, went to some workouts, got offered full scholarships.
Right.
And I went on from there.
First visit to Pikeville, Kentucky. What was that like? What was your impression?
Well, I just came from California.
Right.
So, you know, it was definitely different. Cold, for one, a lot of mountains, and real like country-ish.
Sure.
I wasn't used to it. Well, I wasn't used to it at all, but I'm here for basketball and my academics, and
Right.
I feel like there's no distractions, and I can stay focused.
Did you have an opportunity to meet some of your future teammates when you were on that visit?
Oh, definitely.
How did that impact your decision?
Chris Johnson, he's a good guy. Deuce,
Sure.
he's a good guy. We hanged out, played 2K. You know, I talked to him a lot about how he liked it here and
Right.
why he came.
Sure.
And they were all positive. Everybody gave me positive feedback. So I felt like it was going to be a good fit for me.
You've not been around Coach Kelly Wells long, but National Coach of the Year. He's been successful on the high school level, National High School Coach of the Year. He's been a National Coach of the Year on the NAIA level and well respected throughout the coaching ranks. What's it been like to play for Kelly Wells?
I haven't told him this yet, but he reminds me a lot of my high
he
school
won't
coach.
watch.
He won't
watch. He won't hear any of this.
Right. But he reminds me a lot of my high school coach who made a major impact on me. So like meeting him and him coaching me, he don't really yell, but he gets his point across.
Sure.
And I like that a lot. That's what my high school coach did. He makes sure that we understand instead of yelling all the time, and he keeps a calm head and
Right.
he keeps us on track.
You've been part of successful basketball teams in high school, and
Yes, sir.
you go on to championships. Is the makeup of this U-Pike team something that can make a deep run in the national
Definitely,
tournament?
I believe we'll win it all. We lost 2 games since I've been here. 2 games, and I didn't expect it. You know, we lost by 2 buzzer beaters, and not holding on to leads. But practice has definitely gotten more intense,
Right.
and I don't think we'll lose anymore, to be honest.
There you go. PJ Jenkins, what are your future basketball plans?
Hopefully, I can go overseas after I graduate, and try just keep playing basketball as long as I can.
We're going to keep you here at the University of Pikeville for a couple of years first.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Then we'll get you a trip on a big boat and send you overseas.
That's what I'm hoping
fine
for.
After a couple of years.
Definitely.
PJ Jenkins, welcome to the U-Pike family and the basketball program. It's been our pleasure to watch you play. We look forward to the next year and a half.
Thanks for having me.
PJ Jenkins, 6'1" junior guard out of Goose Creek, South Carolina. Our guest in the player spotlight. He's been a welcome addition to the U-Pike program. When we come back, we'll talk with Coach Kelly Wells. The national ratings are out of Kansas City. Last week, the Bears ranked number 3 in the country. After going 1-1, we'll find out where the Bears are ranked this week. It's coming up next on the Kelly Wells Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless.
I'm on top of the world, now I'm living, and the good just gets better, keeps on giving. Not even close to the end, it's just beginning. Life is getting lighter while the days are getting brighter, yeah.
Welcome back in to the Kelly Wells Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless. I'm Andrew Joyce, rejoined by our coach of the University of Pikeville Bears. Last week, number 3 in the country, a 1-1 week in the Mid-South. The Bears now 18-3 and 8-3 in the conference. And coach, the latest ratings out of Kansas City. Of course, Lindsey Wilson takes over the top spot in the Mid-South after that 1-1 weekend. Lindsey Wilson also takes over the 4th spot nationally. U-Pike falls to number 7. Your thoughts there?
I think that's as to be expected. We're disappointed, but nonetheless, nothing's less important than the polls this week. That doesn't mean anything. And obviously, didn't want to drop down, didn't want to lose the number 1 rank in the conference. But it gives us a little bit more motivation, something to look up to, and we get to see them again at our place, so we can make that right if we take care of our own self. And that's all you want. You want to be in a position that you can take care of yourself, not have to rely on anybody else. And we're certainly in that position.
5 teams receiving votes. Lindsey at number 4, U-Pike 7. Cumberland's in this week at number 22, and then both Shawnee State and Georgetown receiving votes. 5 teams from the Mid-South Conference receiving votes. Shows the respect for the conference nationally.
It really does. And, if Shawnee would have won their second game, they would have actually been in the top 20 probably as well. It's Mid-South Conference at its best. We just beat up on each other, and we'll have probably 5 teams in our league that could go compete at the national tournament level and do great. But the unfortunate part is it's not like the NCAA where your best teams get in. It's kind of the mix of the polls versus the conference and tournament champions.
Sure.
So it's a little bit different, but nonetheless, we need to keep ourselves at the top portion of that.
Have to take care of business. You mentioned since going 1-1 last week, practice has been good. It's been competitive. P.J. Jenkins mentioned that practice competitive and a little added motivation. Bluefield Thursday night. Bluefield's a team that can knock somebody off. The Bears should be focused Thursday night.
Yeah, no question. They're very athletic. They've lost a couple kids that were really good shooters for them, so they've changed their dynamics a little bit. They're more of an up-tempo, pressuring, fast break type team, where before they were more trying to do set-oriented stuff to try to get jump shots. But they've got two players that are as good as anybody in the conference, and Byron Carpenter, and their little point guard that's left-hander and shoots the eyes out of it. So we've got to really do a good job maintaining the big two, but play Pikeville-style basketball. We got to get our transition game going. We're averaging 95 points a game, and we need to get ourselves back to that.
The flu bug has hit the U-Pike program, and as many in our area have battled the illness, it really takes the energy out of you. I don't care if you're a college athlete or someone who's going to the workplace every day. Will it provide more minutes for guys that don't typically get those minutes Thursday?
It could. I mean, it pops up every morning and every night. You just never know where it's going to come. We've disinfected everything that we have, our shoes. We've made them take everything out of the locker room. We've wiped handles down. It's a strange epidemic that's going around, and it's not exclusive to just me or you. I mean, everybody's getting it. So we've got to take care of ourselves, take care of our bodies.
Bluefield Thursday night at the Expo Center, 8 p.m. tip-off. It's the second game of a men's-women's doubleheader. The women tip at 6, the guys at 8, and then no game this Saturday. It's the Mid-South Conference schedule. Typically, you'll have a week and you'll have an off day. With the illness, it may be a positive, but if your team's playing well, is that something you look forward to get a little break, or is it something you'd rather play through?
It just kind of depends where your team's at that point. I mean, if you're healthy and don't have any injuries, you want to keep playing, but it helps as well as recharge your batteries a little bit. You can add some new things, some new wrinkles, scout your future opponents, and that's important. I mean, you don't have that much opportunity, especially late in your year.
Sure. Next week on the road at Georgetown and St. Catherine. Of course, we'll talk about those and two more important games. They all are at this point for the U-Pike program.
Yeah, there are wars every week. You know, every Thursday, Saturday, you know you're in for a battle. Bring your best or go home a loser.
Outside of the flu illness, health update on the Bears, everyone healthy or as healthy as we can expect at this point?
For this time of year, as healthy as you can expect. We've got some ankles and we've got some arms and some bruises and some aches and pains. But like I tell our guys all the time, there's never going to be a time throughout an entire season that you're going to feel perfect from practice number 1 to practice number 90. So you got to learn to play with some bruises and bumps. But as far as our overall health, very, very pleased.
There you go. Bluefield Thursday, looking for a big crowd at the Expo, and we want to invite folks out. Coach Kelly Wells, ranked number 7 in the country. We'll take it at this point. It's January, and we'll just keep climbing, take care of Bears basketball business between now and March. Look forward to tournament time and taking care of business then.
Can't wait. Staying humble and hungry and trying to build our way up to the top of this thing. Our team motto has been number 1, and that's what we're chasing.
That's what we're chasing indeed. He's our coach, Coach Kelly Wells. You've been tuned to the Kelly Wells Show. Thanks tonight to U-Pike women's assistant, Taryn Duncan, and in the women's spotlight, of course, Natalie Tunnell. In the guys' spotlight, newcomer P.J. Jenkins, a part of tonight's show. And, of course, thanks as always to our coach at the University of Pikeville. You've been tuned to the Kelly Wells Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless.